This is great serious horror, with a director that appreciates what you do, monster-wise.
I think a lot of horror movies work on the idea that less is more. And if you don't see the monster, it's scarier. Whereas Christoph's really brave. He shows you the monsters and features them and you see them, and they're not gory, kind of ridiculous characters. There's an elegance to them as well.
The creature is designed to be scary as hell and very disturbing also.
They are slightly beautiful and completely revolting.
My favorite monsters ever have been in this movie. They're bizarre and creepy, and they look like they've come out of some sadomasochist handbook.
The monsters in Silent Hill sometimes are pathetic and strangely human.
They're based on almost nightmares.
Christoph's mantra right from the beginning was, I don't want disgusting, I want disturbing.
Disgusting and disturbing are very, very different. Disgusting and disturbing are this twisted human shape. It's not disgusting, but it's very, very disturbing.
But something you can't take your eyes off. He doesn't want people to turn away, he wants people to be entranced. Patrick's company was hired to do the creature side of the movie, which is approximately half the effects. And I was hired to do the makeup effects. And I'm also supervising Patrick's makeup on set, so I'm the on-set supervisor as well.
Okay, good.
The textures, whether they were slimy or dry or wet or crumbly or whatever. And the game was like the Bible.
A designer doesn't bring his vision to a movie, he brings the director's vision to the film.
It's amazing. I think it's amazing.
Development of Silent Hill with Christoph started before the Silent Hill project was there. Meaning, I got to know the man, what he was interested in, which made the process of developing the creature on this project very, very simple. One of the key words that Christoph told me at the beginning, he said those beings are made maybe of flesh, but plastic as well, real and artificial. All the creatures were designed based on that concept in mind. They are very real. There are humans in them, but somehow they come through like weird dolls moving on. And that's to me, very disturbing. There's always a sense of pain and suffering in a movie. Every one of those beings is suffering. Even Red Pyramid is suffering. Everybody is hurting. Screaming is another thing that Christoph wanted to see everywhere. He says he wants those things to scream all the time.
I'd like now to introduce you to my favorite character on set.
My personal favorite one is the armless character. Visually, I think that's my favorite monster.
Well, armless is a suit that covers the guy completely, but it's also a very light suit.
Getting into the costume, it's not a long process.
The armless character was just a two-piece costume that Patrick had designed. It was a pair of skin-tight silicone legs that were airbrushed in mottled skin tones and like a plastic foam rib cage. Over the top of that was stretched a big silicone condom that was about 4 feet long, which strapped onto the actor Michael.
Breathing is hard. If you're claustrophobic, like, you can't do it.
Oh, I'm breathing through the hole. Yeah, opening this.
And it comes with a mouthpiece with an air tube that goes through my bodysuit and out the back of my suit. So it's all like that.
Patrick had designed it so Michael could wear the costume. There would be a manifold built into the chest and a little kind of a vent and a hose that would be plugged into a big pressurized container full of black methocel, which is essentially food thickening agent mixed with water and black pigment. And on cue, we were able to spray this out of Michael's chest.
3, 2, 1, spray! Good.
He had a few little nicknames on set by the crew. My favorite one was Trojan Man. He looked like a big rubber condom walking around with a big hole in his chest that sprayed out acid.
The Grey Child, that was something totally created from scratch. The idea was having your skin sliding backward. I don't want the whole skull and jaws to be deformed. If this happens, you retain a face, a skeleton face here, just the skin is being pulled away, which is exactly the effect that Christoph wanted.
Grey Child was essentially a foam latex and silicone bodysuit, which Patrick had created, which completely covered Yvonne's body. Little feet appliances, which blended the suit down into her ankles, and hands and a head, which would be glued down over her body every day. That process, about 2.5 hours.
You need to speak really loud. Really? Yes.
Like this?
Yes.
Once they dress me, it has to get sealed, it has to get painted, there's all the different parts have to get put on, and when I watch the guys paint my feet, it's incredible. It's like getting body art. They painstakingly paint all this work, and it's so beautiful.
The commitment to staying in that character was really impressive.
Quite honestly, I didn't think I was going to
Can I
survive.
stand you up?
Patrick's team knew that I had this constant urgency to go to the bathroom. They specifically created a flap, so I have easy access to the bathroom all the time.
Excuse me,
The bathroom?
I have to go to the ladies' room.
All right.
There was a lot of excitement on set when the nurses came to set because they were en masse, and because there were so many women that looked exactly the same with no faces, it looked kind of like a pack of animals.
Those designs came from the game, and this idea of like having no face and just a scream. We decided to just build a couple of generic masks which had the mouth open, which later will be tweaked with CGI for expression and things like that.
I created the costumes and the hats of the nurses. Essentially, we took a generic body form and sculpted distressed, rotting, putrefying skin in a very thin layer over that surface. We brought in 20 girls, so I created 20 latex nurse costumes, which did up with zip ties and Velcro, because they had to be extremely tight on the girls' bodies.
And the people in effects promised me that they're going to make me one of those latex nurse outfits. I haven't received it yet, so I'm still waiting for that.
Very nice, very nice.
Roberto, the movement coordinator on the show, played the role of the janitor who is twisted into this tortuous shape, covered in crap and dirt, crawling across the floor with cockroaches coming out of his bum. So what we did was we took a cast of Roberto and we created 2 elements, which was a full-size artificial body of Roberto, and that was dressed into a set with barbed wire, so the actress would come in and pull something out of his mouth. That was one element. The other element was Roberto in full prosthetic makeup with a fake pair of legs strapped to his back, bent up over and tied to his head with artificial barbed wire. The tattered costume he was wearing was dressed over the seam.
Oh my God!
And give him a pair of optical green pants, which we called his Kermit pants.
I had green tights so that, of course, they could cut my legs off in post-production.
Essentially, you could shoot it from the side and from the front and from behind, and it would give the impression that Roberto had been bent double. The first day we shot this, and he's lying on the ground in all this dirty mud with this barbed wire wrapped around his head, and I just leaned in and whispered, "Just remember you wanted to do this." But Roberto was able to pull it off quite magnificently. Roberto was able to take another part in the movie, which was the role of the Red Pyramid.
The fact that it was a character that appeared in the game pretty clearly, and on top of that, it's a fantastic looking character. There was not much need to try to do something different. We had to find the right proportion that would still allow an actor to carry this for hours on set. So we worked with very, very light material that are painted in such a way that they look extremely heavy, but bottom line, they were very light.
My prosthetics, the upper body is glued to my skin, so the skin doesn't breathe, but it's so soft that it's like second skin.
It was about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 part prosthetic, which was blended into his skin, and artwork by me and my team. And we also, apart from painting his chest, his arms, and his neck, we also had to paint his bum cheeks and his legs, because I didn't give him the option of having underwear. That process took about 2.5 to 3 hours every time Roberto played. Also, Wendy Partridge had created a leg extension, so he was just shy of 7 feet tall in the complete costume.
We really did come up with a very good 15-inch sole on this boot, and then with the costume coming back right down over the front of the feet, even though when you see him from behind it looks like skin and you don't know what it is, but he actually has a boot on that's 15-inch tall.
The boots have two metal things on the outside wrapped with a band that closes with Velcro to hold my ankles really strong, so it's nice and steady.
And not only is he 7 foot tall in the costume, he's also 25% bigger than all the other humans in the movie.
Action!
To accomplish this effect, most of the time, it was just camera angles. But when he had direct interaction, i.e. grabbing somebody by the bloody neck, we created a miniature dummy for that effect. I don't think I've had a good day at work unless I have to take an hour to wash my hands. With Roberto, with Yvonne, and with Michael, we couldn't have asked for a better bunch of people to play creatures. Because not only were they enthusiastic throughout the entire performance, throughout the entire show, they never complained once. They made the movie for me by the fact that they'd come in each and every day going, "Hey Paul, how's it going? Great, let's put this on, let's go to work."
I need some kind of attention here. It's not just about them.
The whole movie has been a blast. Every day you'd catch someone's eye and you'd just start laughing. This is why I got into the industry, to work on a big budget horror movie with a bunch of great people and do some cool work.
Christoph was absolutely dedicated from the beginning to have these creatures being choreographed.
Roberto is the movement coordinator in the film. He coordinated the movement for the nurses, the grey children, the armless character. He's the sort of brain behind how all these monsters moved.
More arms, Yvonne, more arms, and head.
Roberto is a dancer, he's a choreographer. He understands how to create the movement, so it's very scary and creepy.
More arms.
These are cursed human beings in pain, and so it's an exaggerated body language. Who can do movement better than dancers? And who can train these dancers better than anybody else? Well, a choreographer.
Okay, so please, the 1, 2, 3, absolutely together and down.
As a movement coordinator, I was with the casting director in looking for the three main creatures. With the armless, Christoph was convinced about Michael Koda.
I went through an audition process. We had to audition with our hands behind our back and just move around, hit the floor. It was kind of choreographed, but it's more kind of what you had to put into it yourself creatively.
By moving with his arms back, you could see that he really had no arms. And the way he was already walking and putting the knees towards each other, and Christoph decided to go for Mike because it was angular, yet at the same time smooth. It was already freaky looking, without the costume on, without the prosthetics on.
Make you go all the way. Wow. Wow. As if you were, yeah.
We just tried a lot of different things, you know what I mean? We had to try the moves jumping, we tried it twisting, we tried it on the floor slithering, we tried it running, we tried it falling. If I'm being shot, how am I gonna do that?
What I think the problem was for Michael at the beginning was to not be overwhelmed by the costume. His arms are like this, he's wrapped around, they put this hat on him, and that's it. He's completely blind. Of course, if you don't see anything, it's already difficult to walk. You can just imagine big movements in a very crooked way.
really got to count your steps and really know your surroundings, or you can get really, really, really hurt.
As soon as you feel the left to the shoulders, just turn slightly and go forward, all right?
Say I'm walking forward, I turn around and somebody shoots me. I have to be pretty much put on my mark, and I gotta really count out. So it'd be like 3 steps this way, turn around, get shot, and it's 3 little chugs backwards.
Go, 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 all right?
Roberto tells me what to do, how low to go, and just puts pictures in my head that really help me get the acting across.
Marker! Action! Stay on the left, stay on the left. Left, left, left. Now turn to the right. Straight ahead as you want. Straight ahead like this. Straight ahead.
Michael, stop, ready, and break.
As far as Great Child, I called Yvonne because I thought she would be perfect. And when we put the video in for Christophe to see, he picked Yvonne instantly.
Christophe and I had a little conversation. He really wanted us to embody what Great Child would really be, physically.
From the shoulders. Reverse the theory.
In the rehearsals, which really was the creative process, we played around with the idea of what a strange-looking creature child would be like, going on the basis of a kid.
Oh, like a 2-year-old who can't balance.
Yeah.
And distorted it a little bit more. Found much more bizarre ways of how this creature would carry its arms, its head, how their feet might be.
It's like a tightrope walker. Tightrope walkers, you know, they use their hands to balance. She could see a little bit from the ear. There was the little hole that she could see.
But it's not always in line with my hole because the head shifts. Once in a while, I'll get a glimpse of the outside world, and so through that, I can make certain visual marks through that. Sort of helps a little bit, but a lot of it's through feeling and through Roberto yelling at me because I can't hear in that mass. Neither can they hear me. So it is a different world.
So try not to do a big, big circle.
Action.
To be honest, I never saw her face in real life. I don't know what she looks like. So she was this kind of mystery woman, and I could sort of hear what she was saying. I'd listen to her and she'd listen to me because she couldn't hear very much behind the mask. So it was an interesting relationship.
Having Roberto on set has been great because being another dancer, a choreographer as well, he is able to speak my language. For instance, if somebody says to me, "Can you crawl?" There are many different ways of crawling. And that's where Roberto has been amazing. He's able to interpret that, work with me on that, and we've been able to figure out very quickly, because you don't have a lot of time on set, what the director's looking for.
What I tried to do with the nurses was to be as close as I could be with the movement in the video game. I got into the studio, I knew exactly what I wanted, and Christophe was in the studio as well, and he knew exactly what he wanted to see. There were 3 key nurses, Chantal, Donna, and Rosalind. And Donna is the one whose lashes red.
Straight across. You'll turn when it comes.
Donna already in rehearsals came out with this really kind of aggressive movement that Christophe really liked, and he decided that Donna was going to be the one who was going to slash.
We were shooting really, really fast, so some of the stuff we didn't get to rehearse. And on this particular day, I had a fight scene with a nurse who had no face, so she couldn't see very well. And she ended up punching me in the jaw.
Slow. Very slow.
They were my favorite ones, just because it was such a strong and bizarre, crazy image.
I played 2 creatures in the film, the Red Pyramid and the Janitor. Christophe meant for the janitor was to be obscene, and my head is tilted back, so I can't even really move my head that much. The only thing that I could really use to make it obscene was my tongue.
Okay.
But no, not that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah?
Really? Yeah, it's amazing.
I think
My next favorite monster is Red Pyramid. He was actually a really kind of intimidating image, and the way that he moved was really very simple but very balletic.
What I was trying to do as much as I could was to reproduce exactly the movement from the video game.
As soon as it hits, gravity hits, he goes
Exactly,
with the sword,
exactly. That's
and then he flips it back.
exactly. That's the idea.
I did my best effort, but the first day when all the elements were in place, meaning the tall boots and the helmet that is at least 12 pounds heavy. So my first hour was on set was quite difficult, I would say, quite challenging.
You guys make some room, please.
And plus you're carrying this big heavy sword, which is not in reality, so it's all faked by the movement. I have to make the sword look like it's incredibly heavy, and so it adds to the movement. I can only see the floor, so I can't see in front of me. It does affect the balance. There is a period of adjustment that it's needed.
And all the women on set really liked that character because he had a naked bottom, and you'd see that on set every day. So he's really scary from the front, but not so scary from the back.
It's a lot of fun. You feel like a little boy. I mean, this has been a boy's dream. It was a lot of fun. Something that I would not suggest people to do it in their homes, but absolutely was an incredible treat.
That's a wrap.